Hey, it's Form Check Friday. Let's do it. Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to another Form Check Friday. I'm Paul. Clint is there. There's his butt. We are here to do your form checks. So not a lot this week in terms of updates and stuff like that. We're still doing our fat loss challenge where we've got a bunch of people on Reddit trying to lose some weight before Christmas. We're down to, I think, 2 weeks left. Everybody's doing great. If you want to check that out, you can look at the results at hornstrength.com/FFC for Fall Fat Loss Challenge. And you will see this cool, I don't know how cool it is, but a little spreadsheet, and you can see how much weight everybody's lost. So I mentioned this last week. We got a guy down 16 pounds, almost 17 pounds. So a lot of people are hitting their goals already with some time left. So it's been really cool, and hopefully we'll keep doing it. A lot of people are asking what they're going to do after we're done with this challenge where they have the weekly accountability. And that seems to be the big factor, is just having to check in and own your progress, own your decisions over the week. So hopefully we'll keep that going. We'll figure something out. In the meantime, let's get into your form checks. I have not seen any of these, as most of you know. If we've got some new guys, which I'm not sure we do this week, this is all off the fly, on the fly. Okay, so let's take a look and see who we got to help this week. Luke, here's my bench form check. The last rep was a grinder for sure. I think my grip width needs to be a finger width narrower, but I defer to your judgment. On the forearm angle, by the way, my butt stays in contact with the bench. Okay, let's take a look and see if that's the case. We'll kill the volume here. And all right, let's take a look at this bench press. So we'll watch a few reps, see how it goes. I think your forearm angle is perfect. I see what you're saying. Ooh, buddy. Okay, let's watch that again and just see if it started off really well. Maybe I'll try and pause it on the forearm so we can all see what you're talking about. Grip looks great. What we're looking for those of you who are, not familiar, is when the bar is on the bench, we want vertical forearms right here. So you've got, if I was standing in front of you, this would be fine. I think what's going to happen is as you progress through the set, you might start tucking your elbows in a little more. But let's just watch and see what happens. So you've got your right arm's lagging on every rep. And which is really common. Most of the time a lot of guys have an asymmetry. That left arm's flaring out on that one. All right, so let's address the grip width. I think you're okay here. I think on that rep, you may have just tucked in a little more. You could play around with it. I've actually narrowed my grip a little bit we talked about this a little bit last week, but the thing with the bench press is the powerlifting bench press is it's the one lift where, the criteria that I learned for picking, which version of an exercise we're going to do from Ripito was of all the versions of any lift, we're going to pick the one that works the longest range of motion, works the most muscle mass over the longest range of motion with the most weight. Those were the three criteria. Most muscle mass, longest range of motion, most weight. And I understood that for the back squat, the low bar squat, the press, the deadlift versus the sumo deadlift, which shortens the range of motion. But the bench press is the one where it's we could kind of you know, we could, if we didn't arch so much, we could have a longer range of motion. I guess that would eliminate the most weight part. So that was the one I always thought about. And I've slightly narrowed my grip a little bit on the bench just because bringing it in a little bit seems to, lengthen the travel of the bar. I mean, I'm talking a finger width, so it's not much, but I'm kind of like you. I think I've got my pinky on the ring. If you go in too much, then you reduce the travel because the elbows come in, and then you reduce the range of motion around the shoulder. Same thing with going wide. It reduces the range of motion on the shoulder. But I think, going a tiny bit narrower is going to give you a little bit more at the top. It's a personal choice. You can play around with it and see. I think you're fine. If you want to come in a finger, you can try it and just see how it goes. See if you like it. And it also depends on, I have strong triceps. So my close grip bench presses are very close to my, normal bench presses. I've got weak other stuff, but I've always had strong triceps. And so they want to do a lot of the work. So coming in a little bit puts a little bit more on there. Maybe I should go out farther to put more on the pecs. But anyway, I've tried everything, and I err on the side of narrower, I guess. Okay, now the other thing here is if you watch the bar, right, you've got this angle here. Okay, so your left arm is stronger than your right, or the right one lags a little bit. And the fix for this is just, if I was standing right behind you, I would just say drive with your right arm. Keep all your focus on pushing with your right arm. It's kind of like if you have knee cave, it's usually one knee caves. And so I always advise my clients, just think like right knee out. Just worry about your right knee. The left one's okay. So, don't worry about that, but just worry about the weaker hand. So as you come up off the chest, you got to think about just pushing real hard with your right hand. And that usually evens it out. So give that a shot. Let's watch a couple more. There's not, bench is you're real stable. You're set before you're lowering the bar, which is great. A lot of guys they bring their chest up to the bar as they're lowering it. You don't want to do that. You want to be locked in. You're locked in. I mean, you're real locked in. Yeah. You're taking a little pause at the top to reset. You're not losing your scapular retraction. It's a solid bench, man. It's just, on the last rep, you see the elbows flare out. That happens a lot. It's very common. It's, the bench press is the one that it's not a straight line. The bar path actually moves like this because it locks out over the shoulder joint, but we have to touch down here in order to not impinge your rotator cuff tendon, right? Because if this would be the best place to bench mechanically from like a physics perspective, because you're right over the shoulder joint, but you're gonna have to have surgery if you do that. So in order to compensate and still use the lift, we have to drop the elbows down to about here. That opens up a little space in the AC joint. You can work down here all day without sawing a hole in your rotator cuff. But because of that, the bar travel is not a straight line. So what we see when things start to get heavy and the form starts to break down is that the elbows want to go to the most efficient position because they don't really care about whether or not you have shoulder surgery. So just know that on the way down, that as you get towards your later reps, you have a tendency to let the elbows fly up like this. And you do that for long enough with heavy enough weight, you're going to piss off your rotator cuff tendon. You're going to piss off. Its shoulders are so easy to piss off. So you want to make sure that as you get to rep 4 or 5, think, okay, elbows tucked, elbows. And that may be why we're seeing that angle, because you may already be thinking about that on the way down and tucking them even more, which is why we get that little forearm angle that wasn't there on the first rep. I don't really know. It's the right idea. Just think about keeping them tucked on the way up, but we're going to see that, the elbows come out like that flare up with when you start to fatigue and stuff like that. So just be aware of it. Grip, like I said, bring it in a little bit if you want to. I don't think it's a huge deal. And just focus on driving harder with that right arm, and I think you're good to go, man. I think you posted 2 videos, so let's take a look at the other one. we've got time today. I think we only have like 4 or 5. Um, I'm rocking a bit on my feet near the top. I've been working on getting the knees far enough forward as I keep them a few inches behind the toe. As I was keeping them a few inches behind the toe. Okay, how long should these shoes last? How will I know if the shoes are worn out? Oh, let's see. Maybe this is because I was talking about the guy last week with the looked like he was unstable. Okay. Ah, it's great squat, man. You do look like you're a little bit back on your heels here. Like if you see how you're rocking, you're lifting your toes up. I think that's what you were talking about. Let's see. I mean, overall, this is a solid squat. What were your questions about this? Uh, Shoes. I mean, I still have my same shoes from. I pretty much they're my second pair. So you only wear them in the gym. They're gonna last for a long time. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. I think your shoes look relatively new. I've had mine for 10 years maybe. So I haven't really worn them out. I guess you'll yeah, I don't know. You have the Adidas ones. Sometimes it's just nice to get new shoes, but I think your shoes are probably okay. They're going to last you for a long, long time. So it could be the floor, or it just could be, that floor looks pretty solid though. It's probably just you playing around with your weight at the top, because it looks like you've got a lot of weight back here on your heels at the beginning. So I had to tell a client of mine this more recently, which was at the top. He was starting with his weight back too much. Now that's good on the deadlift, but not in the squat. So I added a step to his reset between reps where I was like, you're going to lock out at the top and you're going to find your balance. So you're just going to add this extra step where you think, okay, where is my weight? Cause his was back on his heels too. And then it started this rocking motion when he initiated the descent. So we just added this step where before he took his breath and went down, he just rock a little bit more weight onto the toes and then take a breath and go. So it's like in the deadlift where you put the bar down, you roll it back, and then you rock your weight back to your heels and then set your back and go. We just added that. So lock out, make sure, just notice where the weight is on your foot. And then you might shift to your toes, just the balls of your feet just a little bit, and then start the rep. And if you just do that enough times, you'll be fine. Like you'll stop thinking, you'll stop repeating that movement pattern. But yeah, see, you stand up at the top and you kind of shift back and you correct it, but I don't think you get forward enough. I think I would say you're just kind of heel dominant on the squat. So you need a little bit more weight on the toes or the balls of the feet. I will say, however, that these shoes, I believe these are the Adidas Powerlift 3, 4, 15, whatever. I don't know what they're on now. And that is still, they're great shoes, but that is still a rubber sole. It's a rubber heel. It's very, very dense. It's very dense. And so for most guys who are starting out, it's fine. It's more solid than anything that they're gonna, any running shoe. However, if you want to geek out about this stuff, the ones I have are the Adipowers, and those are a molded plastic, or at least the ones I have. I don't know what they're doing now, but the ones I have are a molded plastic sole heel, whatever. So it's absolutely rigid. There's no give. And it's the next tier up from this model of shoe. So I like them a lot. I've tried a lot of different shoes and I just keep going back to those. So you might, Christmas is coming. You could probably find an older model of Adipowers for not that much money. And, you're going to have them forever. So Might be worth it. You could also spend some time online looking at, I've lost track of the best shoes now because there's so many different brands and I just don't have a shoe problem anymore. So anyway, overall looks great. And I think just like I said, just add that step where once you get to the top, just do a little balance check. You know what? I feel like I'm a little bit back on my heels, and then rock forward. That's balance, and then go. Almost like you do in a pause squat. So other than that, killing it, man. So let's see something heavy next time, okay? Good. All right, let's keep going. Okay. Might as well put my bench up. I use a narrower grip. Haven't had shoulder problems like I used to with the pinkies on the rings. I didn't feel like I was going to get 5. What do you think? Now, okay. Let's see. I mean, I'm assuming you got 5. All right. Good. Oh, wait. All right, hang on a sec. I gotta watch this closer. Okay. Oh, so you didn't get 5. Okay. All right, man. So there's a lot going on here. You need to calm down a little bit. And I tell this to a lot of people, and I understand, you're amped up, you're nervous about it, you want to get the weight, you get psyched up, but you have to control your aggression, because psych is good, but too much and you're going to get sloppy. And if you're sloppy, you're inefficient. You have way too much movement on this bench press of your entire body. And that's not what we want. When you bench press, the only thing moving are the elbows. You're locked in, the elbows just travel up and down. In fact, if you look at the one we just did from Luke back here, you can see the difference, right? Look at how he locks his whole body in, right? He's going to take it out. He's getting set right now. He's getting tight, and then he's tight, and then he lowers the bar, and nothing's moving. His head's not moving. His legs aren't moving much. I mean, he's stabilizing himself. But you want as few things the only things that should be moving are the things that have to move. Okay? So right off the bat, first of all, looks like you got your toes like off the ground. Yeah, your toes are like, your heels are up. So you've got your feet back, which helps with tightness, but it's not actually as tight as you could get. I just posted a video about this on Instagram where it was a clip from another week or two ago, where I talked about how you lock yourself in on the bench press. And the way that you do that is put your feet flat on the ground with your legs straight, so you're setting up on the bench, your legs are like this, okay? And then you're gonna walk your feet back underneath you, okay? So this is your foot, this is the floor, okay? Toe, heel. You're gonna walk your foot back and your heels, as you walk them back, will start to naturally lift, okay? When you feel it lift up like an inch, stop and wedge your heel down on the ground. Okay, and that pressure will tighten up the quads, right? But it'll also have your full foot, the whole surface of your foot on the floor, pushing this way, right? Driving you this way. That was a bad arrow. Towards your head, okay? Right now, with just like the tips of your toes on the ground, yeah, your quads are tight, but you don't have a good base of support, right? Because you want your foot in contact with the floor. So you're walking back too far, okay? That's one thing. And so that will automatically drive you onto the scapula, right? You've got your shoulders pulled back here. You walk your feet back like this with the heel up, and then you just wedge it down on the ground. And that will tighten the whole system up. So you'll feel real stable on the bench. And then the only thing you have to do is just move your elbows up and down, okay? Because everything else is locked in. With what you're doing, right? If we watch your legs, okay? You see your knees shaking around, like you just watch your knees every rep, okay? And you're relaxing and then pushing. So as you bring the bar down, right, you can see this heaving motion that you're making, where the chest comes up and then you see the legs driving every rep. I don't like to do that. I like to have you wedged in there and just so tight that nothing can move, right? You're so locked in that the only thing that you have to worry about, not whether I'm falling off the bench, not when do I push, because if you wedge your heel down and engage the quads, that way you can't push. You're pushing already. You're tight the whole time. Okay? So, that's the first, I mean, that's one of the things. Okay? Versus this relaxing and heaving. You don't want to have to do that. Just get everything so tight that all you're moving is the arms. Now, the other thing here is how you're taking this out, right? This is all, we're just working towards stability. The fewer things that are moving and wiggling, the more your brain can focus on moving the weight, as opposed to like, is my foot gonna slip out? Am I gonna rock off this bench? You take all that off the table when you lock yourself onto the bench, and then all you have to think about is the weight. But watch how quickly you unrack the bar and then start bringing it down, okay? So unrack it, and then there's no pause. As soon as you take the bar out of the rack and move it over your face, you start coming down. That means you're not tight, okay? You tried to get tight there, but the act of taking the bar out of the rack is gonna have things loosen up. It's the same reason you don't stand up from a squat, take 2 steps back, and then just drop. You take 2 steps back and then you retighten, okay? Because unracking will cause things to loosen up that you need to get tight again before you go down. So the correct way to do this is you're gonna get yourself wedged in there, right? You're gonna take your breath, push the bar up, bring it over your face with the elbows locked, and you're gonna hold it there. And you can hold it there for a long time with locked elbows. With a locked joint, you're not fatiguing your muscles. So don't freak out and just start going. You can sit here all day with that weight. Okay, so you bring it over, it's locked out, and then you do a little tension check. Take a breath, right? So you're here, okay? And then you're gonna just make sure that the act of unracking it didn't loosen things up, and it will, it's going to, right? So you can pull your shoulder, you can get your chest up a little higher, make sure your shoulders are tight, get a new breath, and then it's just elbows, okay? And then when you come back to the top, you gotta reset again, okay? You don't just drop from one rep into the next, because you're not, like you're still going too fast here, okay? I mean, it's not that bad, but I want a little bit more of a conscious, intentional reset. So get to the top, right? And then chest up, shoulders back, big breath, right? Legs pushing, make sure they're engaged, and then down and up. And then you reset. Big breath, chest up. Even if you think your scapular pulled back, try and pinch them back even more, right? Because they probably loosened up a little bit. Okay, make sure your heels are down on the ground, and then down and up. Every rep, it's 5 individual reps with the equal amount of attention. It's not a set of 5 or a 4. Okay, so slow down, take your time between reps to go through the checklist. This is for every lift. Every lift has a checklist before you start the rep, and they're different, right? But in the bench press, you lock out, big breath, chest up, shoulders pinched, legs pushing. Okay. Now, when you get good at this, all of those little steps aren't gonna cause much of a change because you're really good at maintaining your tightness while you do a rep. With a new lifter, everything's gonna come out. The scapula's gonna pop out. They're gonna relax their legs. All this, and they're gonna there'll be dramatic changes in their form, in their body when they go through that checklist again. But for an experienced lifter, the changes will be negligible because they're real good at maintaining the form while they move the weight, okay? And as you progress, you'll get better at it. So take your time. Make sure that the start position is correct for every rep. If the start position's wrong, the rep's going to be wrong. And finally, stop moving your head around. You're doing like an ab curl with your head off the bench every rep, right? So head comes up and then you're using this like heaving motion. You're actually using momentum from rocking on the bench to help you lift the weight. That defeats the purpose, okay? I'm not trying to see how much weight you can lift incorrectly, right? We're trying to lift weights. We're trying to get stronger by lifting weights, okay? So we're not trying to see how much weight you can lift. Yes, that's a goal that we have. You know, it's a way of tracking progress. It's a way of keeping you motivated to set PRs and stuff like that. But ultimately, because we're not competitive powerlifters, or most of us aren't, really the goal is not to see how much weight we can lift. Instead, it is to get stronger by lifting weight, whatever that is. So we're using the weight as a tool to stress our musculoskeletal system, and that produces an adaptation, which is more strength. If you start using momentum to lift more weight with basically making it an ego exercise, you're taking the stress off the intended muscles, right? So imagine I'm doing a barbell curl, right? And I just start like swinging like this, right? Well, or a barbell row, and you're just like using nothing but hip extension. Yeah, you're going to lift more weight that way, but the rest of muscles that we aren't even trying to work with the lift, you're taking all that stress off the biceps and spreading it out just so you can use momentum to lift the weight. It's not going to make your biceps any bigger or stronger because they're not actually doing the work. It's better to reduce the weight and keep your form stricter so that the stress is on the intended muscle. Okay, so same thing here. Like, I don't care if this is 135, I want to see 135 with you completely locked in and all of the work being done by the pecs and shoulders, okay? And triceps, because those are the muscles we're intending. Right now, you're like it's a lot of momentum, and it means that, you're not really lifting this weight. You're not really bench pressing this weight because you're using a bunch of if you did this lift correctly, you would get even though it would be lighter, you would get a better workout. You would get more stress applied to the muscles you're trying to target and develop by using the bench press. Okay? So head stays down, no body rocking, right? Feet flat on the ground, reset every rep, and keep that form strict. The only thing moving when you bench press is the elbows up and down. Everything else is rock solid locked in. Okay? And so that means the head has to stay. You can lift your head, if you want to have your head hover off the bench an inch, that's fine. Some guys like that, but it shouldn't change. Okay? You're not doing this because you don't have to move your head to bench press. So take that off the table. You don't have to move your legs to bench press. They should be locked in then. Nothing moves except the things that need to move, which is the elbows. Okay? So if this grip width is not producing shoulder pain and lets you bench press pain-free, great. The other thing is you're touching way too low. I mean, you're touching like your abs, okay? And now that may have something to do with your shoulder pain. I don't know. But when you bring the bar down here, okay, so if I'm starting here and I'm going to touch where I want you to touch, which is basically your sternum. Okay, so this is the balance point and this is where we're touching. So chest up, and I bring the bar down to here. Notice how far my elbow goes back, right? The travel down here. If I bring it down here and I'm touching my abs, look at the elbow position. So if I back up, in one instance, I'm here, right? Back here, full stretch. If I come here, the elbow comes forward, right? I reduce the range of motion around the shoulder, which means I'm shortening the range of motion, which means I'm doing less work. right? We want full range of motion, okay? Most muscle mass, which means we have to do the longest range of motion. If we shorten the range of motion, we're leaving muscle mass out. This is why I don't want you bench pressing with a grip like way out here, right? You'll lift more weight, but the elbows only travel, right? You're shortening the range of motion with the wide grip. You're also shortening it with a very narrow grip, which is why we like the grip that has vertical forearms at the bottom. That, like I said, if you've got shoulder pain and a narrower grip feels better, that's fine. But touch here, okay? Not down here, because you'll get, again, this is all to get more stress on the intended muscles. And right now you're doing a lot of things to lift more weight, which, like I said, is important, but it's not the most important thing. The most important thing is using the weight to get stronger. And if you're doing things to cheat it, you're wasting, it defeats the purpose. You know, there's no point in doing it. This is why we don't sumo deadlift in any of my programs, because it shortens the range of motion, right? The wide stance. So I don't want to do that. I want a long range. I want to work as much muscle mass as I can. Okay, please. I don't want a sumo, a big sumo debate. Anyway, so that's my advice for this thing. Okay, slow it down, touch a little higher on the chest. None of this rocking. Get yourself locked in there. Get the heels down on the ground and take your time between reps. Okay, and just like when you look back at this set, it should be like your entire body is just still, because there's so much tension keeping you stable on the bench. And when you do that, you will be able to lift more weight because it'll be more efficient. Okay, so you may have to back up a little bit to fix all these things, but like you're gonna get a more benefit from your time in the gym, where you're busting your butt in the gym, if you fix the form and do it correctly. Okay, cool. So hope that helps. And that was a good one, because we haven't seen a lot of those, a lot of the things that we saw in your lift. So that was a fun one. But work on it and post another video when you think you have it dialed in, and let's take a look. And let's take a look at some of your other lifts, because now I'm really curious what's going on with these other ones. And I want to make sure, like, I'm not trying to harp on you, but I want to make sure. A lot of you guys are training alone in your garage, and you don't have any objective feedback. So you're like, was that good? Okay, I'll just keep going up. And then you keep putting weight on these little errors that could be fixed, and then they turn into big errors, and then you have to take a lot of weight off. So throw up your squat, throw up your deadlift. Let's nip these things in the bud before you get too far. And then I'm like, hey man, yeah, you're squatting 405 like a foot high with your knees caving in. Like, I've seen stuff like that a lot of times. So it's always better to get some feedback early on, so you can, fix problems before you're depressed when I tell you that you have to take a lot of weight off. Anyway, work on it, post it up. Let's keep going. We'll get you dialed in. All right. Thanks, man. We got Ryan. My man, Ryan is back. Okay. Finally did a squat workout where I, A, remembered to record it, and B, got deep enough that I thought it was worth submitting for a new form check, and C, wore my Radically Simple Strength shirt. Yes. All right. We're twinning. All right. Let's take a look at Ryan and see what he's doing here. Okay. All right. Stance looks good. Okay. Look at those beefy forearms. Good Lord, man. Meaty. Your depth is great. You are burying these things. Oh, that was a good one. Let's see that again. Yeah, held onto the back angle a little longer on that one, which is good. It must be the shirt. Dude, okay, so I'm vaguely remembering what we saw last time, and I feel like it was a lot. I feel like there were a lot of things to fix. So based on my, this is a huge improvement. These are really good. There's some stuff we got to work on, but overall, like, very solid set of squats. Okay, so let's talk about it. Let's see. Let me watch this again. So there's not a lot of hip drive here. Okay, the descent looks really good. No, your knees aren't sliding forward. I think that's the one I commented on before. That was the best one. But you'll notice that the hip drive here is, so if you watch your back angle, okay, coming out of the bottom. Okay, so that's deeper than you need to go. And you're paying for that. This here, this is like, you don't need to go that low. You need to go about like there. Well, that's probably not a good line, but this is too deep. And the cost of that is that your knees are caving in. Okay, you can see how they're moving in here. Let's see how they look on the way down, because I think everything was looking pretty good. Yeah, this could come out a little more. Okay, you could shove your knees out a little more. And what that'll do is you won't even have to think about the depth, right? Going too deep. If you just jack your knees out harder, and you keep them out as you get to the bottom, it will bring up the depth. It will automatically bring up where you feel the bottom. Whatever you're looking for in the bottom, that stretch in the groin, just, you can do that by widening your stance. I would not do that. I would do that by jacking your knees out harder. And if you really focus on the knees out harder, you'll feel that stretch reflex higher up, and then the depth will take care of itself. So you don't even have to worry about it. But let's keep going here. Not bad. So I'm watching for your hips to move first out of the bottom. And you notice, like, that's a good example. So we get down here. Let's see if I can. Okay, so we're at the bottom here. Again, I want the knees out a little more, but out of the bottom, I want to see this move first. I want to see this move up first. So the back angle will change very slightly, 2 or 3 degrees out of the hole, which shows me you initiated the drive here. Boom. We see that little pop, and then the angle locks back in. If we watch you're going to see this spot and this spot move up simultaneously, okay? They're both going to move at exactly the same time. So let's see. Just watch your hips and shoulders. Boom. Straight. You're just too perfect. It's too perfect. It should be a little less perfect. It should be hips first and then hips and shoulders. So the first couple inches, we're going to see the butt lead you out, and then we're going to see that perfect hips and shoulder ratio the rest of the way up. Okay? And I think on the earlier sets, you're actually lifting your chest a little too soon. So I want to see your hips, and then notice how quickly you got out of your hips. So look at where you start raising your chest. Okay? Let me slow this down a little bit so we can watch it. So what we're looking for is how high up are you when you start opening up your hips and lifting your chest. I want that to happen near the top. And let's see if we can, right there. Okay, so it was leaving a little before that, but you're already getting out of your hips, right? You got to hang on to that back angle a little bit longer. Let's watch a few of these in slow motion. Why not? Notice the delay between the hips and the knees. Okay, I want knees forward and out and leaning over at the same time. And now that we have it in slow motion, you can see you go knees and then lean over. See that? You're kind of starting. And then, there was a little hip drive on that one. It was a little late. You came out, watch how you come out of the bottom. You go up and then hip drive. So you're going what you normally do, which is no hip drive, hip drive, and then you open up your hips. And then you get out of your hips too soon. Okay? We'll just watch one more in slow motion. Why not? This might be the good one. Yeah, that one you kind of opened up your hips like right away. Like watch the back angle. Boop. Speed this back up a little bit. All right. Yeah. Okay. So again, much, much better than we've seen before. Just want to look at your feet here. Yeah. So you're just taking a little bit too long to lean over. All right. From the top, you're worried about the knees. So that's going to prioritize that, which is fine. But I want you diving for the floor. So when you think, okay, I'm about to squat, it's chest to the rubber. Okay. Knees go forward and out to make room for you to drop your chest down to the rubber. Okay. So you're so get leaned over a little bit faster, just nipples to the rubber right away. Okay. And keep focus on the knees out as hard as you can, right? All the way down and back up. That'll bring up the depth. And then there was a little delayed hip drive in there. Yeah. And then just hips right out of the hole. Like this. If I was standing behind you, I think I've done this with you before. I mean, I've told you about this. I would put my hands right here, right under your butt. And I would just throw your butt up in the air, not with weight on your back, but just so I'd make you pause down at the bottom, walk up behind you, grab your butt and throw it. And you'll see, and I'll tell you, that's what I want. Okay. It should feel like that. So just more aggressive hip drive here. So we see that little pop and, I think you're good. I just want to see where your weight is on your foot. A little delay there. What was that? Oh, that was kind of different. That was like you leaned over and then did the knees. Yeah, so you just got to even that out a little bit. The leaning and the knees happen at the same time. It's just boom, like everything together. Okay, not hips, knees, not knees, hips, just lean over and knees at the same time. We've talked about pause squats before, but pause squats would be a good thing to practice in your warm up with a little bit of weight on your back to remind yourself that the knees are out. Okay, so you get to the bottom and you pause with 95, 135 on your back, and you see if you can shove your knees out harder during that pause, in those 3 seconds. Can I push my knees out harder? If you can, you didn't hold them out like you should have. And then once you're in the right position in the pause, you're going to initiate the drive up by exaggerating the hip drive, right? Like, so what I always tell guys is show me too much. Give me too much hip drive. Drive your ass up so much that you think I'm going to tell you to rein it in because that's too much hip drive. And that will probably be correct for you. Okay? Because what you need, it has to feel wrong. It's going to feel like too much because right now what you think is right is not enough. So make it feel like too much, exaggerate it for a little bit, and you'll see that the weights start to move faster when you get it right. Okay? Awesome, man. Dig it, work on it, post it up again, and let's keep going. All right. Last guy, my man Dick. Here we go. Being brave this week, I'm submitting my heavy squat workout for review. 170 kilos for 5. What was that, like 370 something? Okay. Homework. I'm trying to improve. Looking at the same damn spot on the ground. I'm still flicking a bit. Right? Forcing my knees out on the turn. Yes, they were caving, partly because of the weight and partly because I was focusing on the knees. I think my back has gone a little soft in this set. I'm not worried about correcting this because I've done so much work on it in recent weeks. I feel the weight felt comfortable, which surprised me, but I did the workout in the evening again. All right, you might be an evening guy from now on. All right, here we go. Last guy. Let's see. Let's check in with Dick again. So glad Dick's back. All right, here we go. All right, Dick. Let me see it. Oh, better with the head. Okay. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. This is new. This is new. That is a big X. I like it, man. I like it. I like it. It might have to go here, but we'll see. All right, I applaud it. Let's watch. Let me go back and watch some of these. Okay. Good. Very good. Yeah, you notice the hips aren't swinging back as much, so you must be keeping the knees out. Great. Dude, these are great, Dick. These are really, really good. Oh, that was. Mm. Wait, how do I do that again? There we go. Confetti, confetti for Dick. Man, this is a great set. This is a really good set. Just watch it again. Take it all in. Good. Good hip drive. Notice how the knees, like, this is great. Look at this. You're like halfway down, right? Notice your knee is there, and you're going to finish the rep, and it's not going to move. Just watch that knee. Boom. It's just still. It just, you stuck it forward and it just stayed there. Nice, man. Really nice. Let me look at your upper back. I'm not worried about it either, brother. Awesome. I was kind of joking, but I think that if this X is great, but I think you should move it a little bit closer. So it's like 6 inches in front of your toes, like real close, which is about where I look when I squat because that's where you're gonna look. That's where your default is. Even though you're starting here, with this X, you're still moving it a little. It's less than before when you were looking out here at the wall and then as you squatted shifting to here, but you want to look here, so look there. Just move the X in a little bit and see if moving it there did this or helped with producing what I'm seeing today, then try moving it a little closer and it might get even better. And if not, you can always move it back. But I see you are still kind of changing your eye position a little bit right there. So why not just put it where it wants to be? That one I think you just lifted your hips or opened up your chest, your hips a little too soon. But dude, oh, dude, you killed it. You killed it. You're back. You're back. I I'm I'm thrilled right now. I'm thrilled. I felt like you were in a dark, lost place, programming wise and whatever, and then you came back and I just crapped on your squats. And you could have just given up. You could have just been like, I'm done. I'm gonna be like a yoga guy now. Um, but you stuck with it, man, and this is Like, these are probably the best squats I've seen you do. Okay. If I'm going to nitpick, since we're here, and this is going to be very quick, it seems to me like you generally have a little bit too much weight on your heels. And I talked about this in like the first or second form check I did today. Or maybe the first squat. I don't know. But let me watch again to make sure that I want to tell you this. No, I think you're fine. I don't even want to ruin it. Yep. Don't worry about it. You're good, man. These are great. Home run. Excellent. Great way to end this episode of Form Check Friday with Dick absolutely crushing squats. I love it. And now I got to know would you say this was 170? What is that? 170. So 375. 375. Perfect. Perfect set of 5. Just basking in this for a second because it's great. It's great. You know what it is, man. You're not wearing the socks unless they're under those sweatpants. Maybe the socks were screwing it up. Great job, man. Really proud of you and really happy to see these. Just keep it up. Just keep the knees out and do whatever you're thinking about to do this. Just keep doing it because it's fantastic. Let's get to 405. Let's get to 405. All right, guys, we did it again. Form Check Friday, under an hour. Always good to see everyone. And thanks to everyone for posting. This was fun. I will be back next week. I think I'm headed to Vegas for my fiance's working a hotel opening. So we're going to go to Vegas and I'm going to tag along. But I will be back by Friday. And I'll shoot the next week's episode, same schedule. So thank you all for submitting. Thank you all for watching. If you want to submit your own video every Wednesday morning on Reddit, the official Form Check Friday submission thread opens up. And then you can post from Wednesday to Friday morning when I film this. And we'll just keep going and working on it and working on all your stuff. And let's get you guys dialed in. Thanks for being a part of it. And I'll see you soon.